Hi, guys. So today we are going to be focusing on reading comprehension. And one way that we can really comprehend what we're reading is through the use of context clues. I'm going to go into more context clues here in a little bit with a PowerPoint slide, but this is something that you might have heard of before. And a lot of times when we're using context clues, it's when you come across an unfamiliar word or a topic in a text. So I want you to think about this while you guys are going through the PowerPoint with me. And then after we're done with the PowerPoint, we're going to use strategies that we've learned for context clues and then use those to answer 3 questions at the very end. So like I said, we are going to be looking at context clues in order for us to improve our reading comprehension. Some of this might be a review because we talked about strategies before and we've talked about context clues, so we're going to tie everything together in order for us to help become better readers and to be able to work through unfamiliar text and unfamiliar words. So when we look at context clues, we have to think like a detective. Detectives try to solve mysteries and cases, and our mystery, our case, is going to be text that have maybe big words in it or words that we've never seen before, and we're going to have to use context clues in order to figure out what those words are in order to comprehend what we're reading. We're going to use these 4 strategies to help us investigate the word and find its meaning. Our first strategy is find a synonym. Now, you've probably heard the word synonym before, and it means that 2 words have the same meaning. If I say that something is cold or frozen, those are synonyms. They both mean the same thing. So if I saw the ice cream was frozen, I would know that it's cold. So using this strategy, let's look at this text that's right at the bottom. The homework was more complicated or difficult than she had first thought. So the underlined word complicated, I might not know what that means, but I know that I can use one of my context clues and I can see if I can find synonyms that would tie to this word. And it looks like the author said, or difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the word complicated with difficult and see if the sentence makes sense. The homework was more difficult than she had first thought. So that makes sense. So that means that complicated and difficult are synonyms, and now I understand what the word complicated means. Strategy 2 is a little bit different, but it's still going to be using similar skills. So strategy number 2 involves using an antonym. So these are words that have opposite meanings. If I have 2 words like hot and cold, well, those mean 2 opposite things. If something's hot, it can't be cold. When something's cold, it can't be hot. So I'm going to use our strategy of antonyms in this text. And this text says, even though some of the dogs were very docile, others were very mean. Well, I'm not 100% sure what the word docile means, but the author said that some were very mean. Well, if this strategy is for antonyms, and it says, even though some of the dogs were very docile, others are very mean, I would assume that docile means maybe something's not mean. It could even possibly mean that they're friendly. So let's see if this makes sense. Even though some of the dogs were very friendly, others were very mean. I think that makes a lot of sense, and it's making a comparison between the 2. So some dogs were friendly and some were mean. Our third strategy is find an explanation. The word might be explained in the sentence before or after the unfamiliar word. So let's look at this text to see how we can use this strategy. Jo was so exhausted she could hardly keep her eyes open. This word's underlined, exhausted, and I don't know what exhausted means. So I'm going to go on in the text and see that the author said that she could hardly keep her eyes open. Have you ever been so tired that your eyes are burning and they're so heavy that they keep on closing? So right here, Jo was saying that she could hardly keep her eyes open. If she could hardly keep her eyes open, then that could mean that exhausted means that she's very sleepy. So let's replace exhausted with sleepy and see if that makes sense. Jo was so sleepy she could hardly keep her eyes open. I think that makes a lot of sense, so that would mean that exhausted could mean sleepy. And our fourth and final strategy is find an example. And you're going to see this a lot in informational text or in our science text and possibly even something that has to do with history and social studies. So an example will be used sometimes right after the word an example could be given. Let's look right down here, and it looks like this might be from a science text. Celestial bodies, such as the sun, moon, and stars, can be seen in the sky. I have no idea what celestial bodies are, but let's see if I can use my example strategy to figure this out. So right here it says, such as the sun, moon, and stars. Well, right here, the author's giving me examples of what celestial bodies are. So now I know that celestial bodies are the sun, moon, and stars. So we're going to use the strategies for context clues in order to answer these questions. I'm going to read it to you, and then I'm going to give you time to come to an answer, and then I'm going to give you the correct answer. So the first question is, as Cammie woke up, she remembered that it was the morning of her birthday. She was giddy with excitement as she thought about all the things she was going to do that day. Using context clues to help you, what does giddy mean in this passage? Is it A, disappointed, B, thrilled, C, nervous, or D, worried? I'm going to give you a few seconds to come up with an answer. If you said be thrilled, you are correct. So a good way to solve this one is with our strategy of synonyms. So we know that giddy was used with excitement, so I'm going to use the word excitement for my synonyms. Disappointed and excitement usually doesn't go together. Nervous and excitement can go together, but I don't think that she'd be nervous about her birthday. Worried and excitement don't really go together, but thrilled and excitement go together very well. So I would say that B is the best answer because thrilled and excitement are synonyms. Question number 2. The willow is 70 feet high with branches that extend across the lake. What is the meaning of the word willow? Is it A, a bush, B, a forest, or C, a tall tree? I'm going to give you a few seconds to come up with an answer, and then I'll reveal the correct answer. If you said C, a tall tree, you are correct. So for this one, I'm going to use our strategy of an example. So I'm reading through this, and it says that the willow is 70 feet high with branches. So I'm going to use the word branches for my example. So I know trees usually have branches, so I'm going to get rid of a bush. But then a forest has trees, and they have branches, but they were talking about one willow, and a forest has a bunch of trees. So C is only talking about one tree, so that's the reason why C is the best answer and why C is correct. Last but not least, question number 3. What is the meaning of the word topics in the sentence below? There are many topics taught at school each day, such as math, reading, and science. Is the best meaning of the word topics A, school, B, test grades, C, subjects, or D, homework assignments? I'm going to give you a few seconds to come up with an answer, then I'll reveal the correct answer. If you said C, subjects, then you are correct. So we're going to use our strategy of examples and see. So they said that topics taught at school each day are math, reading, and science. Well, I know that math, reading, and science are subjects, so let's see. School doesn't make sense for that. Test grades don't make sense for that. And homework assignments, you could have math, reading, and science homework, but homework isn't taught in class. Homework is done after school. So the best answer is C, subjects. I think you guys did an excellent job today, and I'm hoping that you're going to be able to use your context clue strategies in the future when you come across words or other unfamiliar topics in a story or an informational text, and so that you'll better be able to comprehend it in the future. I hope you guys have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you soon.